Good evening, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Avat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Matt Berger, and I'm accompanied on the Bima with our soloist, Allison Rosoff. We're both very, very glad that you're here with us down by the Ivories. Our accompanist is Joy Katzen-Guthrie. Special hello and Shabbat Shalom to all of you who are watching from the live stream, as well as guests of the Canes, as Jeff and Janice are going to be celebrating later on in the service a very, very special wedding anniversary, and hopefully some nice goodies when we get to the oneg. As you can see, for our guests, all of the prayers will be on the screens, but if you'd like to use your prayer book called Mishkan Tefillah, Dwelling Place of Prayer, you can find them right in the seat in front of you, where there'll be Hebrew on the right, transliteration on the left, and the translation below that. We're our Kabbalat Shabbat service, welcoming Shabbat on page 10. Right at the top of the page, you'll find the words of Psalm 133, how good and pleasant it is that we can gather here together, the words of Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manai shevet achim gam yachad. 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 If there are any ladies in the sanctuary who would like to join us for the lighting of the Shabbat candles, which you can find on page 2, you can feel free to come to the bima at this time as Allison leads us in Light These Lights.
And mercy and peace.
Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu b'liknei shel Shabbat. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik shel Shabbat.
What do you think of those snazzy, colorful Svat candles? Aren't they nice? Janice had to work hard to get through that outer layer of wax, but it was worth it because now they're lit. On the screen now, you'll find a special reading that was taken from the prayer book for the month of Elul, the 12th and final month of the Jewish calendar, called Mishkan Halev, dwelling place of the Lev, or heart. And it's talking about preparing ourselves for the Jewish New Year. You can feel free to join me. Before we slip into the season of the soul, let there be a Sabbath of Sabbaths for the heart. Before the music of creation's majesty, let there be a silent praise of existence. Before the feast of sanctified words, let there be a poetry of solitude. Before we enter the palaces of prayer, let us find within ourselves a place of calm. Before we revel in the wondrous and sublime, let there be an honest inward gaze. Before the rites and ceremonies of awe, let there be quieter days, an island of attentiveness. And I'll be bringing 3 more readings over the course of tonight's service from this special prayer book that we will be using tomorrow evening for a very special contemplative service called Slichot, service of forgiveness. We'll continue now on page 24, and you'll find the words to this classic Shabbat table song, Shalom Aleichem, peace be to you, messengers of the Most High. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vo'achem v'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vo'achem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Turn Turning to page 27, our segue to Shemana's blessings is the half or Chatzi Kaddish, words of praise.
Yitkadash Shmei Rabbah Bi'ama divrach Yutei V'yamlich Malchutei Mechayechon Uvyamechon Uvchayei Dekol Beit Yisrael Bagala Bagala Uvizman Kariv V'imeru Yishmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam u'almei Amaya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitroman V'yitnasei V'yithadar V'yithaleh V'yithalal Shemei Dekudesha Brichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damira be'ama v'imeru amen.
Let's rise now for the call to prayer, otherwise known as the Baruch Hu on 28. Lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai yai lai lai yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai. If you look at the screen, you'll find our next reading that we'll use for the evening prayer, Ma'ariv Aravim. Feel free to join me. Holy is twilight, the realm of in-between. And so our sages taught, pray in the moments when light and touch. For all people, beyond categories and labels. The sacred in-between of this evening, our certainties, soften our judgments, widen our vision. Let us limit our way to the God and the living language that gives it form. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev. We're going to sing Open Up Our Eyes together. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes. Teach us how to live our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Feel free to be seated. We'll continue chanting the words of the Shema found in the book of Deuteronomy. You shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, mind, and soul. We're on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshokbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. If you'd like to join me in the reading right on the screen. Eternal, watch over my small domain of light and shadow, those few people who share my love, and all others upon this earth that sometimes shakes with thunder and reverberates with lightning. Help us to live with fear and conquer rage. Heal the hate that makes us kill and covers the ground with this Red Sea that only you can part. So may all walk through the wilderness to your realm of peace, where all men and women are one, and sing your blessed name. We're going to continue on page 40 with Mi Chamocha, who is like you.
Who is like you, O God?
like you. No one, no one. Who is like you, O God? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar.
B'kodesh
Nora tehilot osef even. Who is like you, O God?
Malechutecha ra'uvanecha mokeyam b'fnei Moshe u'Miriam. Zeli, 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 zeli. Anu v'yamru. Oh,
Who is like you? No one, no one. Who is like you, O God?
who is like you? No one, no one. Who is like you, oh God?
Continue now on page 42, a prayer asking that God's canopy of peace, Sukkot Shlomecha, is spread over us now and always.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom.
going to continue now with the tefillah, our standing prayers that start on page 46. Please rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula livnei v'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol, Atah Rav laHoshia, Morid hatal, Mechachel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh olim,
Kadosh. Feel free to be seated after these prayers for the generations before us, for our lives, our health, and holiness. The fourth of the 7 blessings of the tefillah for Shabbat is found on page 55. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. And a prayer asking that God's presence always remain with us wherever we are. On 56, Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shechinato litzion. And we'll share words of hoda'ah or gratitude on page 59. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha u'cha na'eh lechodot. And the tefillah on Shabbat always ends with a prayer for peace, for shalom, on page 60. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people forever, for you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel and Ukraine and the world with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamvarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. And that it's the month of Elul, one of the special editions, typically in the morning service, but it can also be in the evening service, is the reading of Psalm 27, God is my light and my refuge secure. And it's also customary to hear the shofar blown, especially during the 30 days leading up to Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. So you can join with me if you'd like in the English. God is my light and my refuge secure, whom shall I fear? God is the stronghold of my life, of whom should I be afraid? Just one thing I've asked of God, only this do I seek, to dwell in God's house all the days of my life, to behold divine sweetness and beauty, and to gaze into light at God's holy temple. I'm going to turn the mic off, and you'll be thankful in a second.
Kia.
See, that wouldn't have been good if you added the mic onto that. But without it, it's okay. Now, Allison and I, with Joy's help, are going to sing at least a portion of Psalm 27 that we just read aloud together, called Achat Sha'alti, one thing I have asked.
שאלתי נהית אדוני אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש
אחת שאלתי בבית אדוני אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש שביתי בבית אדוני שביתי כל ימי upon the beauty of Adonai. One thing I ask of you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. Achal Shahalti Liveit Adonai. Achal Shahalti Otam Bakesh. That's a nice one. I like that. Hava Morel, in case you ever wanted to look it up on Apple Music or YouTube or what have you. We're going to now move to our prayer of healing called Mishaberak, God the one who blesses those who are ill. You'll find these words on the screen, also on page 253 in your prayer books, as we call to mind and to heart the following individuals for healing: Jacqueline Albin, Joanne Beeman Fiddleman, Yonatan Reuven Ben Rivka, Charlie Burke, Joel Bowman, Harry Bronstein, Babs Brown, Peggy Bruno, Tina Bruns, Stephen Drenane, Harry Fleisch, Marsha Friedman, Denise Freifeld, Mitchell Freifeld, Sidel Freifeld, David Friedlander, Eve Goldstein, Lee Grubman, Don Hirschman, Jim Howard, Kathy Howard, Ken Mercereau, William Miller, Alan Muirhead, Cole Montgomery, Michael Ranzino, Barry Richmond, Bob Rosen, Stephanie Ross, Carol Spani, Albert Schaefer, Dennis Schulman, Angela Sermenis, Jeff Stark, and Michelle Slaza. Are there any other names you'd like to add for healing?
Brian Smalley, and my father, George Stark.
Mi shebeirach avotenu mikol habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing.
And let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, A customer goes into a store to have his watch repaired. The owner says, sorry, but I don't fix watches. I happen to be a moil, an expert trained in the ritual of circumcision according to the rites prescribed by the Jewish sages. Now, since most fathers aren't trained or up for doing this, let alone on their 8-year-old boy, I serve as a shaliach, a stand-in for the dad. Hearing this, the customer says to the owner, well, that's good to know, but I do have one question. If this is the case, why do you have a watch in your storefront window? The moil responds, well, if this was your business, what would you put in the window? Now, there are a couple of reasons that I told you this joke. First, it's funny, and second, because circumcision actually plays a role in this week's double portion of Torah, Nitzavim, Vayelech, but not in the way that you think. In these chapters, which we annually read about a week before Rosh Hashanah, Moses finishes a quite lengthy speech to the Israelites, which takes up the majority of the book of Deuteronomy. The Hebrew word nitzavim means you stand ready, because the Israelites are preparing to accept the brit, or partnership with God, ratified 40 years beforehand at Mount Sinai, but now with a new generation of Israelites. While Vayelech means and Moses went, which speaks to a period of significant transition for the Israelites, where Moses offers some final words of advice for his flock as they get ready to enter the land of Israel. Moses lets the Israelite know that he won't be joining them. And finally, Moses is spiritually preparing himself to depart this world with eyes undimmed and vigor unabated, meaning in good health. But before any of this occurs, Moses looks to the future, and he foretells that the Israelites will one day be exiled from the promised land, yet adds the uplifting message that there will also be an ingathering of the exiles. He knows this because he's a prophet with a direct line to God. Moses then shares the following after recognizing that the people will stray from the commandments at some point or another. Here's the translation. And you will return to God with all your heart and all your soul. You will listen to God's voice, and God will have mercy on you, returning you to the land which your ancestors possess. By this point, after leading the Israelites for 40 years, Moses had a pretty good idea about human nature. After all, he'd lived for 120 years, so you're bound to pick up some wisdom along the way. Moses then shares a unique metaphor with the people. And God will circumcise your heart and the hearts of your offspring, your kids and grandkids, so you may love God with all your heart and soul. The Hebrew phrase is umatem et or lot levavchem. Another way of translating this phrase is cut away the thickening of your heart. This is a very powerful statement, although I can only imagine that every single guy in the assembled crowd quickly adjusted their gauge, if not their stance, at the mere mention of the word circumcision. Hopefully they understood it was a figure of speech. But it draws upon the use of a familiar Hebrew word, milah, which means cut, as in a bris. At the same time, it serves as a warning against the Israelites becoming prideful and arrogant, because pride and arrogance symbolically close the heart as well as the mind. And back then in biblical times, they thought that the seat of intelligence was actually in your heart. And this is what needs to be snipped away. The upcoming High Holy Days are a time set apart to be reflective. The prayers we read or sing, they remind us of the importance of following the path of ethical living, kindness, and integrity. At the same time, these prayers also acknowledge that all of us fall short of the mark at times. Moses is asking the Israelites, and by extension all of us, to remove any stumbling blocks that close our heart. So how do we cut away this thickness of the heart? One option would go to see a cardiologist, but that's for something else entirely. Another way is to visualize the challenges involved as well as the reward. So I'll ask you for a moment to consider an artichoke. It's a vegetable surrounded by a thick protective armor of leaves protecting the heart, like this one on the screen. Now, it's very easy to go to a grocery store and buy artichoke hearts in jars, cans, even bags, plain or marinated, or you can try to do the work yourself. I've never done it. Even though everything about the artichoke suggests that it doesn't want you to eat what's inside it. Beyond the super tough leaves, the stem itself can be prickly. And I learned if you don't wear rubber gloves or something like that, the bitter artichoke fluid can pass from your bare hands to other foods, which wouldn't be tasty. Simply put, there's a whole lot of prep work needed to get to the delicious heart inside, enough to scare away most home chefs. On the other hand, perhaps it's all about the approach. If you take things step by step, slowly, you can remove the artichoke's defenses, clear away the parts that you can't eat, and become rewarded in the end. The prophet Jeremiah also shared a similar idea. He said that farmers, they don't go out and plant an untilled field, especially when there are weeds everywhere and the soil is hard as stone. To make the land productive, the farmer first needs to plow the soil by hand or with a machine and get rid of the weeds. So it is with us. All of us, over time, build up psychological defenses, sometimes because of confrontations that we have or we felt hurt by other people. On the one hand, this can protect our heart from further negative experiences, but it can also just keep the negativity deep inside of us. And while the world has changed a great deal since biblical times, human nature has pretty much remained the same, meaning that the truths we find in the Torah can easily be applied today. A rabbi who lives in Vancouver named Dan Moskowitz offers the following insight. Our ancestors encountered a world where they were slaves to a tyrant, Pharaoh. We may work in a job with our own taskmasters and pharaohs. In biblical times, this caused Israel to be stiff-necked and hard of heart. Isn't the same true for many of us? We've built our own defenses against character assassination and image degradation. This, too, can harden our hearts. When an artichoke blossoms, the first thing that grows is the heart. Only then do the protective layers or petals grow to protect the edible treasure. If a field is properly prepped, the soil will likely bear fruit for many years. But leave it dormant for a season or maybe a year, and it develops its own defenses as the topsoil becomes stone-like in appearance. In both cases, the treasure or reward is there. We just have to work to get at it. Just as our heart can create thickened walls, yet if we do the personal work, we can become more open and more accepting. As we approach the days of awe, there are choices that lie before us. We can look inward and surely find many times where we've missed the mark. But if we're too hard on ourselves, our self-criticism may lead to a negative feedback loop. So there's an alternative. It's important also to find good points within ourselves. And from there, we can spiritually grow and elevate our lives. Today, this approach is the essence of what's called positive psychology. It's aimed at nurturing the good that's already inside us, though it's worthy of note that Judaism has long understood the power of recognizing the good. It's called hakarat hatov in Hebrew. This Jewish value emphasizes the importance of gratitude, but it's also focused on our attitude toward the world around us. Think back to when we were kids. Everything back then seemed new, fresh, and amazing. But it's hard to keep that genuine sense of wonder when we get older. Interestingly, our brains are actually wired to take greater notice and take hold of negative experiences. But when we actually count our blessings, appreciate even the small positive moments in our day, we can reframe our thinking. And that's what this season of the soul is all about. Our sages ask, who is rich? Their answer, people who are happy with what they have. All of us allow at times stumbling blocks to thicken our heart, but the power of the High Holy Days lies in the possibility and promise of change. When we choose to remove our defenses and open our heart, we stand even higher, our tradition says, than the greatest tzaddik or righteous individual can ever reach. Shabbat Shalom. So, I'll take a drink of water. That was exciting, wasn't it? And it's my pleasure to call forward our honorees of the evening. Jeff and Janice Kane, on the occasion of their 60th anniversary. Mazel tov. Quite a milestone. Step right up. So Jeff and Janice shared a lot about how they met, and I'll just fill you in for those of you who don't necessarily know. Jeff was 19 and Janice was 18 when they met in the springtime long ago at the YMHA in lovely Toronto, Canada. Jeff was a lifeguard and a swim instructor, and Janice wanted to get his attention and catch his eye. Thankfully they did, and they fell in love that very summer. Now Jeff was finishing high school and getting ready to move to the States, where he joined the Navy, but since he wore glasses, flying was not an option. Instead, he became an electrician in the Naval Construction Battalion, also known as the Seabees. At first, they moved to New Jersey, where Jeff joined his dad's hearing aid business in Westfield. After being blessed with a son, Stephen, he sadly passed away shortly after Jeff and Janice's marriage. Their other son, Larry, who's here today, is married to Lisa. And now there are grandkids and even great-granddaughter in the family. A second granddaughter is coming. So that, you say, instead of congratulations or mazel tov, the thing that you say for the superstitious among us, bisha'a tova, meaning may the kid come at the appropriate time, not earlier nor later. The Canes moved to Florida in 1982. That was back when I was a kid. Within the first week of their arrival, they walked into Ahavat Shalom and became members and have remained so for more than 40 years, 4 decades. Amazing. They've been involved in sisterhood and brotherhood, and even helped revamp our temple bulletin years ago. And Jeff wanted to share that he's going on an honor flight in October, which is going to be very, very special. A trip all the way to Washington, D.C., and well deserved. We have at least one other person who's going on such an honor flight. In recognition of this incredible time in your lives, it's my honor to offer you this very special blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shenatan mechochmato v'zasar v'adam, which means we bless you, Adonai, our God, who creates all flesh and blood and rejoices in the love, the ahava, of 2 very special souls. God be with Jeff and Janice now and for the rest of their lives, and may the entire family be blessed with health, love, and happiness. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and it's also an opportunity for me to call upon Joy and Allison to help us sing our words of gratitude called the Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehianu v'kimanu v'hegianu Bazman hazeh. Thank you so much, God, for helping us reach this moment. And let's sing Siman Tov and Mazel Tov. Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov. Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov. Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov. Yehelanu. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulecho Yisrael. Pleasure to announce that Mark Tanner, our family friend, is going to make a wonderful donation in honor of our lovebirds. So mazel tov to both of you, Jeff and Janice. We're going to continue our service with the prayer called Aleinu, the Adoration, that you'll find in the bottom of 282 as well as on the screens. Please rise as the ark is open.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tei gedula le'otzer breshit, shelo asanu kigolye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpechot harama, shelo sam kelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kehohamonam, va'anaknu korim umishtachavim umudim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Ne'emar, v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
If you turn to page 294, you'll find the words to Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. As we call to mind and to heart families in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days mourning their loved ones. As we remember Edith Seligman, mother of Robert Lou Patrick Seligman, Gabriel B. Caprio, father of Allison Schoenfeld, grandfather of Mia Schoenfeld, and Bruce Goldstein, cousin of Edie Becker. We also marked the yard site anniversary of passing of loved ones during the season in years past. On this Shabbat, we fondly remember Irving Barron, Sissy Bierman, Alette Vanya Durlacher, Henry Durlacher, Hank Epstein, Bernice Epstein, Abe Estulin, Jack Fisher, Mildred Friedman, Arthur Gladstone, Jerome Granoff, Max Parker Greenberg, Mo Horowitz, Sharon Katz, Max Lowe, Manus A. Maltz, Morris Millhouse, Leonard Miller, Robert Miller, Seymour Mines, Matthew Benjamin Mollet, Max Morrison, George Polanski, Nettie Post, Hy Rothman, Charles Ruttenberg, Ruth Sabgier, David Satinoff, and William Steckler. Are there any other names to add at this time? Yes.
Larry Saber.
We say, Zichronam Livracha, may the memories of all of these good people continue to be a blessing in their loved ones' lives as we rise to offer the words of Kaddish praise together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mivarach le'alam u'lamei al-maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shemei kudashah b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mramav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who causes peace in the heavens cause peace to descend on us, Israel, Ukraine, and throughout the world, as we say, amen.
V'imiru, 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 amen. V'imiru, 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 amen.
Feel free to be seated. You'll find the words to the Shabbat Kiddush, blessing over the fruit of the vine, on page 5. Look, they went out. You know, I just should say that Alex, who's our awesome maintenance person taking care, and we did a test. Was it yesterday?
Yes, it was.
Yesterday,
actually.
for like an hour and 15 minutes, and we're like, oh, it's going to be great. It lasted for an hour and 15 minutes, and there was still plenty to go. And then look what you have here. Maybe it's 55 minutes in, and poof, they've disappeared. So let's do the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzah banu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'avahu v'ratzonin hilanu, zikaron le'maseh bereshit, kihu yom tekilah, l'mikra'i kodesh, zeher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, v'otanu kidasha, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ava uvratzon, inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. Chaim to life. All right, we have at least a couple kids in the house. If you'd like to come forward for our motzi, blessing over the challah bread. Come on up. We've got plenty. Nice. You true? Javi. Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Say b'te'avon and enjoy. I got to drink some of it. I mean, that's part of the blessing. You do the blessing, then you drink some of it. That's part of the deal. My pleasure now to call for Joy Masarski, representing the board and leadership of our congregation, for some Shabbat announcements. Thank you.
Good evening. Many thanks to Rabbi Matt, Allison, and Joy for leading a wonderful Shabbat service, along with our tech team, Sophia Schoen and Brad Wetzler. Sisterhood's annual honey fundraiser is open through Rosh Hashanah. This 8-ounce jar of honey is the perfect way to wish someone a sweet and healthy new year. Free shipping if you send 8 jars to the same address. Info about ordering is found in the service booklet and Sisterhood page of our website. Please be sure to RSV for our end of Yom Kippur Break the Fast sponsored by Sisterhood by September 15th using the Happenings link. Our reverse Tashlik beach cleanup at Honeymoon Island, led by our Social Action Committee, will take place on Sunday, October 1st at 11:30 a.m. Save the date for the Sisterhood Mahjong Tournament on October 31st. For those interested in learning more about our congregational Israel trip in June 2024, please talk to Rabbi Matt or Kara in the front office. The Jewish Federation is collecting tzedakah donations to assist communities affected by the Maui wildfires. There's a link in the Happenings email. Our Slichot service of forgiveness will take place tomorrow at 8 p.m. We'll begin with refreshments provided by Sisterhood, see an animated film called God is Kidding, featuring Israeli kids' ideas of God, followed by the service. I'd like to add my mazel tov to Janice and Jeff Kane on a wonderful wonderful opportunity to share happiness with you, and I wish you much more joy and love for many more years to come. Following the service, please join us for refreshments at our Oneg Shabbat in the social hall. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Jory. And just a note, next Friday is not a regular Shabbat service, but it's Shabbat plus Rosh Hashanah, and that service, unlike in years past where it started at 8 o'clock, is starting at 7:30 p.m. So if you come here at 8, we'll be at the Barhu or somewhere thereabouts. So try and get here a little before 7:30, and that goes for all of you watching at home as well. Our closing song is going to be O Say Shalom, right on the screen, our prayer of peace. Sing along with us. O say Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh Shalom aleinu. O say Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh Shalom aleinu. O say Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh Shalom aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'afo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Shabbat Shalom, one and all. Please join us